for joining us. I'm pretty excited to be here. This is my second time up on the stage, and I was a little nervous. I'm not very nervous this time.
Don't be nervous.
I would like to welcome you all, if you have never watched an episode of our Hobby Night School, to the first live episode of Hobby Night School from the National. We started this to help educate people like ourselves. A lot of times we think, hey, I don't really know how this goes, and you're like a little nervous to ask questions. You feel stupid. I know I did. And so we invite people who know more than us. Oh, and I never feel like I'm the smartest person in the room. So I always like to invite people that know more than us on to explain things to us and do it in a way where it's like accessible and not like you don't feel nervous to ask these questions or like, you know, silly, because we're all learning together, and education is the best way to keep people in this space. Because if you don't know what you're doing and you mess up and you don't have someone helping you, sometimes you'll just leave. And I see that a lot. Like I lost a bunch of money and I didn't know what I was doing. And, I bought the wrong card. I thought it was a rookie, and I didn't realize that there was a difference between, a Bowman First and a rookie card. And these are all the things that we talk about and try to help people, navigate. And so today's a really, really special one because we have Andy Jones, the coolest person at COMC. That is what I'm told.
Yes.
And my husband, Jeremy, my co-host, the most amazing person I know.
Yep.
Joining us from Michigan. So Michigan, stand up. What's up? He is here via Google Meet. I'm not sure actually how we made this work.
He's here. That's all that matters.
Shout out to Habzi for making this happen for us. So, Andy.
Yes.
We had a conversation before we get on here.
Yes, we did.
And we talked a little bit about how...
We talk a lot.
We do. We talk all the time.
Talk a lot.
Andy never stops talking.
No, I don't.
So I'm going to talk like for a couple more seconds, and then he's going to start talking, and he'll probably talk the whole rest of the time.
No, I promise not to.
So we had a conversation right before we got up here. COMC is the largest seller of sports cards and cards.
Trading cards, yeah.
In general, at all.
Yep.
I go to shows, local shows, where we don't see big deal, like we don't see the big corporate sponsors. We don't see the eBays. We don't see the COMCs. We don't see Fanatics. We don't see that. And a lot of the people there don't know what COMC is. They don't even know what it is. And it's mind-blowing to some of us who are on social media, who are watching YouTube, or consuming content, that there are still people that don't know what COMC is. So what I want to do is kind of talk about the origins of COMC.
Sure.
And, how it started, and, and then we can talk about where it's going, because you guys have a lot of stuff happening right now.
We have a lot of stuff happening right now. We do. Yes, we do. Yeah. So
let's talk a little bit about the origin. And then I'm sure Jeremy's got a million questions because he is a question machine.
We love questions. Gives us more to talk about.
Yes.
So COMC started about 18 years ago now by Tim Getch and his wife at the time, Julia Getch. Tim had been a programmer at Microsoft. And he was also a card collector. And he wanted to find a way to make it easy to buy and sell cards. Tech guy, got to be a better way to do this. How can we do this? So he just started writing a program and creating what was called check out my cards, check out my collectibles. It was a whole lot of things initially. And originally, Tim and Julia ran it literally from their house in their garage. It literally, truly was a garage startup.
Wow.
It was. And it would grow from there. It would get started. Tim would start going to small card shows, telling people about it. People thought, what is this? This is the most craziest thing. You have to think 18 years ago, this idea of tech and selling cards and doing this way was absolutely revolutionary.
Absolutely.
You had eBay, but outside of that, there was nothing else. They didn't exist.
No.
And so he would go to card shows, talk about what COMC is, what he wanted it to be. Tim, great thinker, genius, truly. And we're going here and we're going there. People literally thought he was crazy. But they started to catch on that, I can give these people cards. They do all the work for me, and they make selling cards that easy for me.
It's been really, really cool. We actually, since you and I have met in Burbank, Jeremy had been looking at selling with you guys, and he started. Jeremy, do you want to talk a little bit about what our journey has looked like with COMC?
Yeah, I think one thing that Courtney mentioned at the beginning, and I don't want this to get lost in the shuffle, is she said that we're never the smartest person in the room. However, if this was a closed door environment, she would remind me that she is the smartest person in the room.
That's true.
So I don't want that to be lost.
No.
I want that on the record. No, we have somebody local to us, Trees Collectibles, who, sings your praises.
Yeah.
And he plays in big cards, 4 and 5 figure cards.
Yeah.
And I didn't see him grinding, like #grinding, that serious hobby talk, the way other people were. And I asked him how he did it. And, he easily identified he would go out and buy large lots of $2 to $3 cards up to $40, $50 cards.
Yeah.
Send them in, let COMC do all the work, post it, do everything, set a price, and then just sit back and watch the money come in.
Yeah.
And so we, our whole thing for when it comes to buying and selling is buying in bulk and buying in the off season.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we buy more than we can truly process and get out. So we just started to accumulate a lot of cards being stacked up that weren't being utilized. So, knowing that there is a system and a company out there that did it, we tried it. We sent in 100 cards. Yep. I think at the time, the ingestion time was maybe 2 to 3 months. And we documented this all throughout on the Too Thick Pod with myself and Manny. And, recently, in the last month or two, all of the cards have started to process. And so for us personally as Reckless, not only did it allow us an avenue of cards to alleviate the burden that was sitting there that we could get rid of and not have to worry about, but also gives us the opportunity that when we're out buying, hey, these might be perfect cards for COMC.
Yeah, I tell you, there's a lot of our users that do that. They discover us for that very reason. They have these enormous collections. What do I do with all these cards? How do I sell $3 and $4 cards? I don't want to take the pictures. I don't want to ship it. I don't want to do these things. And they learn about COMC going, this is the answer.
It is.
I can turn this into money to buy the cards I really want, or just money I can cash out and send home.
Yeah.
It truly becomes one of the easiest ways in the world to sell cards.
And you guys, you process cards so much faster than we could do ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
It is so quick. I was shocked when we sent them out, and then all of a sudden I'm getting the emails. And you're very communicative. Yeah. Which is great, because you didn't these cards are processed. These are going up. These are, here's the prices. So it's so... Before we move on, because I really do want to talk about what you guys... Talk about the process behind the scenes. Like, I mail you my cards. What happens to them? Yeah, so that's the great mystery that everybody wonders. What happens to my cards? I gave them to you. What's going on next? So it's really, cards just obviously come in. Mail day brings them in. And from there, they go through our processing team where they are separated by their service level. They were submitted, Standard, Select, Elite, eBay. From there, they get processed to their teams where those cards start getting in line to be processed based on those time frames of those submission levels. And as that goes, they do go to be photographed. And as there's a process of that, and that process goes through. We have God almighty, the database we have of card images would blow your mind. It's nearing 100 million in our database. I would love to see that.
Yeah, it's a lot of cards. It's a lot of cards. And literally that helps ID the cards. So as that process goes, here's the picture of your card front and back. It's ID'd. Over the period, some of our service, Select, Elite, are 2-week services guaranteed. So in that 2-week period, we've got your card, we've photographed, we've ID'd it, we've added to your account. It is now ready for you to price and sell that card.
So
it's a large operation.
I can't
We're not in the garage anymore.
No, I would imagine you couldn't be. How do you store all of those cards?
So we have 2 massive warehouses.
I bet.
In the Seattle area. And each card and way that's designated and signed, there's storage vaults for them there in our warehouses. Yeah. Wow. Cards are vaulted, high security. Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So the process of sorting, I know us personally, I sent in a giant 2-row of cards. To me, I look at that and I feel like this is overwhelming. I can't deal with this. I'm like, it's been nice because Ludex, now we just take pictures and that does that. But before that, I would look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to get through all of these. Yeah. It's just
it seems overwhelming.
It is.
And I think that's what it is to a lot of people in the hobby. They have all these cards. How do I do something with this? And I think it's why it just sits in most people's homes, garages, whatever, in boxes, because it's becomes such an overwhelming challenge where you literally, in your case, sent us a 2-row shoebox and the challenge was over.
It's done. And now I'm watching them get posted. The pictures are really good. Yeah. And then we get texts like, hey, or emails like, these cards sold, these cards sold. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it was no work.
And that's the thing. It's no work. You didn't worry about shipping it. I'm not running the post office. I got to pack this up. It just is that seamless.
Yeah. So we typically send cards that are like $2 to $50.
Sure.
I think so. With COMC, what are some of your bigger cards that you've sold? Like, what is one of the coolest ones that you've seen posted up with you guys?
We sold that Huawei rookie, a few years ago for what was it, $90,000?
Wow.
We sold that one Luka card. It actually was bought by a Major League Baseball player. What was it, about 80, 85, somewhere in that range?
That is so cool.
So I think it's a funny thing with COMC. A lot of people look at COMC and they think in that $3 to $25 range, and we certainly sell millions of cards a year in that price range. But we have a lot of sweet spots, and we do sell a lot of 3-figure and 4-figure cards. I mean, we sell 5-figure cards weekly. But it's funny that a lot of people in the hobby don't see or perceive that we do that. I think it's got a lot to do with the origins of the company, that it was a lot of low-end cards, that $3 to $5 range. And they don't see us as that place where you can sell those 4- and 5-figure. I've personally sold 4-figure cards, multiples on COMC.
I think that's awesome.
It is. And I trusted COMC to do that. Why wouldn't I? You know, we can sell a $3 card. We can sell a $30,000 card.
I've had a conversation with someone recently about like comps, because, you know, like there's a debate in the hobby about comps. What's a good comp? What's a bad comp? If 3 cards sold the same.
Yeah.
We have a decent following on eBay. We sell a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's new buyers or new sellers that like maybe have no one following them. And then there's COMC. When I look at a comp, if my card sold for 35, this new person's card sold for 20, and COMC sold for 45.
Yeah.
With the amount of eyes on COMC, I would be like, that's probably the closest.
That's the big difference with COMC. We're the largest seller of trading cards in the world. We're the 5th largest seller in the world on eBay. And for all that we sell on eBay, we sell even more directly on our marketplace on COMC.com. The amount of eyeballs we bring to your cards is something you can't do yourself.
Exactly.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. Why is COMC successful? I put a card on eBay, why is it not selling? Or why to do this? You don't have millions of people watching your marketplace, or even our eBay store. One of the most popular things for people to do is watch our recently added, as they happen every day on COMC.
I'm such a nerd. I do that all the time.
Yeah, we all do it. And but there's millions of people doing it. And that brings those eyeballs to that card. So when you've got it, maybe you say you've got it priced at 45 on COMC, they see it and instantly buy it.
Yeah.
And they're using store credit to do it.
Yes.
That's the great thing with COMC. When you're buying and selling there, you're using store credit. You're not having to pay tax by buying those cards. And it makes it easy to do that. It's $45, bam, it's just done. You didn't have to take it out of your pocket. It's not a debit credit card. I didn't have to fire up the PayPal. I just use my store credit to buy it. It makes it so easy to buy cards.
So it's all very easy, and this sounds amazing, right? Everybody thinks this is the greatest thing, but there's fees associated with it.
There are fees associated with COMC. The thing with COMC, because of the work we do, there are submission fees up front. That pays for us taking the pictures of your cards front and back, adding the IDs, all that stuff to it. Past that, when a card sells, you price your card, as you've learned. A lot of people, that's one of the things, I think they think of us as like an auction house. We're doing this. They're your cards, you price your cards. But when your card does sell, we take 5% of whatever you priced it for. So $10, we took 50 cents.
I mean, that makes sense. Here's the thing. A lot of people complain about fees, or they like, oh, I could do it myself. But what is your time worth? Is your time worth 50 cents?
Oh, that's the thing. I think that's what so many people have figured out. They're like, you know, if it costs me 50 cents to upload this and you do everything for me, and I get 5% of the sales, but I didn't do anything. And I don't have to ship this. I don't have to do anything once it's sold. Most of us don't have time.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't either.
I have 4 kids.
I work in the hobby and don't have time to do it. I started using COMC 10 years ago when I discovered. And I initially bought a couple of cards, and I sent a few in. And that first year or so, I did continue, because I started using eBay in '98, like a whole lot of people when it really launched. But after about a year, I was going, why in the world am I doing this? Why in the world am I taking time to take pictures? Back then, I was using some little digital camera, and I was having to upload the pictures to a computer. And then you'd have to...
God, do you remember the old days before your cell phone?
Yeah, before your cell phones, you forgot about all this.
I forgot about
it. And I was hunting around, and was the light right, this right, what do I want to say in the description? And I said, I'm sending some cards to COMC. And I did that, and that went on for about 6 months, and I said, I'm done with this. Yeah. Everything out goes from COMC. It's just too easy. I don't have time.
Yeah.
You made it that easy for me. And one of the things I've done with that, too, is it's allowed me, too, with like all these cards you're talking about you've got piled up in your home. I sent all those things in. I started buying cards I really wanted for my collection.
Well, and somebody wants those cards that are sitting in my house because they're buying them. So, Jeremy, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to say that I think the shirt's really appropriate with the buy, sell, flip.
Yeah.
Because the initial reason we wanted to use COMC was just to take a bunch of cards that was dead money, move it and take pennies on the dollar as opposed to the cards just sitting there.
Yeah.
But what I've recently been doing, and I'll just say, like, I just bought a bunch of Cody Bellinger with the expectation that he might get traded.
Yeah.
If he gets flipped to a contender, that there might be a quick, easy arbitrage opportunity where, other than a couple of clicks, I don't have to handle the cards. I don't have to deal with anybody and can just make money. And what I've seen for my personal experience is you sometimes, not all the time, you make a little more than you would on eBay because you are dealing in credit as opposed to actual dollars coming out of somebody's
That's the thing.
account.
That is why I made that point, because somebody's, let's say you've got that card and they may be willing to give you $5 on COMC versus they're trying to get it $2.50 or $3 on eBay because of those things, because they've just got that store credit sitting there. They may be thinking like you, speculating with Bellinger as well. And so that's exactly what they do, Jeremy. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Jeremy, you could put it in like perception of like Starbucks stars. Like you're like, oh, maybe I'm not going to buy this nitro today, but I have stars, so I can use half of the stars for my Starbucks today and then buy more stuff.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot
What else I found is that knowing that we sent in, I think we've sent in 400 to 500 cards in total now.
Yeah.
And these are all cards that any offer that I receive, I automatically hit accept. And I think there's a feature where you can go in and accept like up to like,
you can
control the percentage.
You can totally set up auto accept at certain percentage. Yeah, all of that is totally there. Yeah.
Shout out to Reckless Cards on COMC. We will accept any offer, just so you know.
They're selling. They're selling.
Knowing that that was our thought process, I thought there might be others the same way too. And so I've gone in there and you've been able to pick up cards that are meaningful or I think that are going to be good for a relatively cheap price compared to what they'd sell in the open market.
Oh, 100% agree. There are so many speculators, if you will, in the hobby that look at, that, well, I'll call them prospectors, because they looking at young prospects and stuff, and they use COMC that way, Jeremy. They see those cards as they get loaded. They're speculating on, hey, I can pick this up at 50 cents or maybe $1. They hear the guy's really doing good at AA or whatever, since we're talking baseball.
Yes.
and they do, and they'll speculate and pick those cards up. A lot of times they'll either reprice it instantly, or a lot of times they leave it in their inventory just sitting there until maybe the guy, okay, he's jumped from, well, like Ella De La Cruz.
Oh, yeah.
He jumped from AA with the Chattanooga Lookout straight to the major leagues.
It was crazy.
Crazy how he did that.
And if you already had those cards up on COMC, because
that's right,
immediately you're getting
because if you were speculating on what you were seeing with him at AA, you bought some of those up. The instant that happened, you can go and reset those cards for sale or instantly reprice them and raise those prices, and there you go. It really does let you buy, sell, flip just that easy. It does. And you didn't even have to buy any of Cruz's cards. Somebody else bought those cards. They spent all that money buying that wax for you. All you did was pick it up cheap and turn it that way.
That's crazy. So
it is.
So you guys started in the garage.
Yes.
And now you have giant warehouses.
Yes, we do.
What is the future of COMC? What's going on now? What's the newest thing that you can tell us?
Well, we've got a lot of new things going on.
Or let's hear them all.
Well, I'll start with this because people have been after us for about 10 years. We now have an app.
I know about, I hear that, like, when I was talking about, that you guys were coming on, they're like, tell them to talk about the app. It's so cool.
We do have it. COMC now has an app, which is fantastic. It has basically all the functionality of the way. There it is. Jeremy's got it. I've been testing since February. I've had it for a while. It's basically has all the functionality of the website. It lets you buy, sell, trade, make offers, accept offers, reprice your cards. Everything basically you can do, you can now do from your pocket and your phone.
Amazing.
So the app is here. It took a while, but it is here.
So you went from taking pictures on a digital camera, uploading them onto your thing.
Yes.
Now you have to still send it to COMC. Now you can just boop, right through the app.
That's it. Just do that.
It's so much even easier.
It's even easier. Yes. We've made
Incredible.
COMC even easier to use now with the app.
Unbelievable.
Yes. And people, I used to work in shows and doing what we do. It was not unusual for somebody to pull their phone up and have COMC up on their phone. You're like, I can't see that. And they couldn't either. And you're trying to, we're all doing this to make it. Now you have an app that's absolutely beautiful, great images. Cards are, matter of fact, when you tap the cards now, they become the full size of your phone screen. And it's amazing what you can do now with our app. Yeah.
That's
so I'll start
wonderful.
with the app because that's our first big.
I'm very excited to hear about this.
We've got a lot of things. Our newest big thing is our direct-to-grading new service level. Earlier this year, you were able to start sending your cards to at the time, CSG, but now I'm still confused, but CGC to grade your cards. But through that process, we came up with a new direct grading service level. It's a 5 to 7 day service level with your cards meant to go to be graded.
Amazing.
And as of last Friday, we announced not only can you grade with CGC, you can now also grade with PSA.
That is so. I obviously agree with both of them. I was actually at CGC because I bought cards today.
Yeah.
That are like a brand new company that I don't know how many people have heard of it, but I'm like over there. I'm like, will you please grade these? And they're like, come back in 20 minutes. We will find out for you. And when you have that ability to use the companies that you like to use, like that quickly without any effort on my part.
Yes. Well, the great thing with that, it's thing too, if you've got cards sitting in your COMC inventory right now, with a couple of clicks, you can submit to grading and choose whether you want to go to PSA or CGC and just
submitted. So cards that like maybe I submitted them a month ago, they haven't sold. If I'm like, hey, maybe I'll grade this and it'll sell easier. And it's not like it has to be a fresh submission. You can do it with the ones that are already there. You can do it direct
from your inventory right now. In about 2 clicks, you can have sent that card to PSA or CGC to be graded.
Wow, that's
it doesn't
awesome.
cost. And it's not like there's a fee for that. It's already in your account.
Yeah.
You will have to pay for the grading fee.
Obviously.
Based on the turnaround time, 8 weeks, 4 weeks, full walkthrough service or whatever. But it is simply that easy now to grade cards through COMC. And the great thing with them, they come back to your account full elite, meaning they're open to all of our services. You can price them over $100. You can send them to eBay auction. You can send them home if you want to. But it makes it that easy now to submit cards, grade them. Because a lot of people submit cards, they wanted them graded, but they just kept it raw to sell. Well, now you can send those raw cards in, grade them, and sell them exactly the way you originally wanted to sell them through COMC.
That is so cool. I think that the more streamlined things have become, the more accessible it makes it to more people. Like when you don't have to worry about no, I have to put these on eBay, or I have to sell these, or I have to figure out how to submit these to PSA. It's one-stop shopping.
It is, and a lot of users are starting to tell us, before they were having to mail their cards to PSA, then mail them back, then mail them to COMC.
The postage alone.
The postage alone. The postage alone is you're like,
and we all
how
know
much have you got in this card now?
You have to add that into the price. People don't do that. It is part of the cost.
It is part of the cost. It's funny, they don't factor. You really got to factor it. And now you can literally go, well, like here, they're coming in groves here. I can walk over and go, oh, for $1 a card, I can just hand this to COMC, and I can send to PSA this way. So, and all these other back and forth, and that's also a lot of time delay.
Here's another question about that. Like when you talk about...
Hold on, Court, before
go ahead, Jeremy.
I thought you made a great point. I think anytime that you can remove friction and streamline any sort of process, you're going to have more people that are inclined or willing to try.
Yes.
My question for you is, at what point in that process are you paying for the grading? Is it up front? Is it after your grades pop? When is that? When is the money
that is a great question. When you send the card to grading, you pay for it through your store credit at that time. Yeah, okay. It's not after it comes back. Right then, as soon as you click, a couple of little things you got to check.
Say how do upcharges work then?
That's it?
Like upcharge, say you have a card that comes back and all this.
So that will be, well, with CGC, you don't have that.
Right.
But PSA, if it does come back with the upcharge, that is immediately withdrawn from your store credit.
Okay.
It is. So that is a part of that with PSA if you do get the upcharge. But no, Jeremy, as soon as you submit that card to be graded, you pay for it with your store credit for the grading level you have selected at that time. Instantly, it's just withdrawn from your
So this is all great stuff that, like, I think I was unaware of. Jeremy talks about this. The other thing, I was going to ask about insurance. Like we were talking about removing friction and mailing everything. Is that part of the fee of getting it graded?
That is
like shipping, safety, all of that.
That is all part of that grading fee. And it also is too because you get asked to value your card.
Right.
So your card is valued as raw at whatever value you want, insurance wise, and part of that fee you are paying is paying for that shipping back and forth and for that insurance of that.
Perfect.
All cards on COMC are insured anyway.
Right.
At whatever value you have set.
Perfect.
But our car, we got quite the insurance policy.
I bet.
But all cards on COMC are fully insured against, you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
But yes, that is part of that grading fee too. There is part of that is shipping, part of that is the insurance fee and all, but it is fully insured as it is going either to PSA or CGC.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So you said a lot. What else is going on?
We've also launched a breaker service.
Yes.
Of course, COMC got into breaking it. There's been
you
people,
have to. I mean, I feel like everybody, like you get big enough, and you're like, oh.
Well, people have been after us for years. When are you going to get into breaking? When are you going? So we have a breaker service. We're doing it with 3 breakers. They are currently just personal brakes, but team and random brakes will be coming soon. We wanted to get the service launched, though. Personal brakes it's easy to do. The cards are shipped back to your COMC account through your mailbox. And if people don't know about COMC mailbox, you can buy cards from anywhere and have them sent directly to your mailbox.
Awesome.
I tell you and I'll say this about the mailbox feature because it's something that a lot of people don't know about, and it's a little diversion. But I was talking to, so we have users here this week from England, Germany, Australia, etc. They can buy cards in America from eBay, etc., buy into brakes in America, etc., and have those cards sent to their COMC account through their mailbox.
Wow.
And it allows those cards to be added directly to their inventory. They can price them and sell them right there on COMC. They never had the cards in hand. They were never in America. But the mailbox is a great feature for anybody in general, especially say like you bought a card you think's hot on eBay.
Right.
We're talking about Ella Della Cruz. We'll use him. Well, instead of having it shipped home and then having it sent to COMC, just have it sent to your COMC mailbox and it's instantly on COMC.
Perfect.
And that really speeds that up tremendously, getting your cards
a lot of times with the speed of like how things change in this space.
Oh Lord.
And like you can see like players overnight all of a sudden, they had a great game. They shot, 40 points in a game and from nothing. And all of a sudden they become the most sought after person. So the faster you have your ability to have your cards up there on somewhere where there's millions of eyeballs looking at it and good pictures and good description, the easier it's going to be for you to move those cards.
Oh, it makes it so much. Your cards become so much more liquid that way.
Yeah.
The sales velocity on cards on COMC is just incredible.
Yeah.
It turns so fast because of that. It does. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I've talked about a lot.
You have. It's been, I feel like we have covered like so much. You are like just a wealth of information. So you told me that you're the coolest person at COMC.
I'm definitely the coolest person at COMC.
Why are you the coolest? She seems pretty cool.
Jen is very cool, who happens to be on site here with us. I tell you what, the great thing about COMC is, and a lot of people don't know this, almost every single person that works at COMC is a card collector.
Yeah.
Across the board, whether it's sports, non-sports, TCGs, but there are some amazing PC collections. Part of our team that's here right now, Stephen and Angela Loeffler, is here with us on site this weekend. They have one of the most amazing Minnesota Twins collections you've ever seen. I collect Michael Jordan, and my collection is the most boring thing you've ever seen in the world compared to their Twins collection.
Isn't it fun though?
It's so fun to see how those collect.
Here's the thing though, and let's be really real right now.
Yeah.
How does anybody get into a hobby like company, like any hobby company, even if you didn't collect? I don't think anybody could get into it and then not become a collector.
Oh, and I don't see, hey, we have hired some people that are not collectors and they slowly become collectors. They see the fun, the joy, and like we were talking before we started the podcast, we come to shows and we see this and we experience this, we meet each other, and you make friends with people that maybe in your normal everyday life you wouldn't know or ever even be friends with.
I know.
But we see each other here and it's hugs and we're happy. Yeah! But it becomes this great community in a way that you love and you care for each other and you're there for each other and you look out for each other because you know what each other collects, etc.
Yeah.
I've had people that know what I collect bring me cards
every day for Lauren. I'm going to tell you something. Manny doesn't say a lot of profound things. He's our friend.
Yeah.
He is on Too Thick, and he very rarely says things that I'm like, oh, that was a very profound thing to say. And Jeremy always gives him his flowers for this. He's like, we're old. Like, how are we going to make friends? How do we make friends?
We got into cards.
The hobby, man, collecting cards.
But you know the thing about the hobby is you're friends with young people, you're friends with older people. It's across the board.
Well, all walks of life. You have it in common, and it's such a fun thing. And I feel like as this space grows, I want more people. I want more people to come in and enjoy this with me.
That's part of our mission statement at COMC is to bring joy and happiness to collecting.
That's a great mission statement.
It is, because there should be joy and happiness in the hobby. We all hear, it's sad about the hobby through social media and all we have now. You hear about the negative, this bad happened. But for all the joy that's in it and the happiness, I haven't seen anybody unhappy this week.
No, you
How
watch
could you
people
be
walking.
unhappy?
We're all like real hot and crammed into a place together, and people are bumping off of each other, and everyone's like, "Oh, sorry, hey, oh, look at this card I got."
But you
look
know,
at this.
but you know, if you bumped into somebody at a mall or something like that, they'll be grumpy or fuss. People are, oh, it's okay, because we're all happy and we're this joy in this hobby that we love and care about.
We're all passionate about the same thing.
We are all passionate. We all collect. So there's nobody in a single room we're in that collects the same thing.
No.
But we all appreciate what every single person in this room collects.
Exactly.
I see some amazing cards and collections with what we do at COMC.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And I'm like, how do you start doing that? And the stories and the passion behind it, it just inspires you even more. And it just makes the hobby even more enjoyable.
That's awesome.
It does.
So tell everyone who is living under a rock and doesn't know, where can they find COMC?
So, you know, what's funny is, even though we're the largest seller of trading cards in the world, we've encountered people at the National going, I've never heard of you before.
It blows my mind every time.
You know, as we were talking too, not everybody's on social media. I think everybody wants to think that everybody in the hobby's on social media. They're not.
I think people do, yeah.
They're not. No, but you can find COMC at COMC.com. Or just go to Google and type in COMC. We'll instantly come up. We're not hard to find, really. Go on to social media and just type in COMC.
You can come find me and I will give you Andy's personal cell phone number.
Yes, because Courtney has it. I get crazy texts all the time from Courtney at crazy times of the day and night. And I have to tell this story before we did this podcast.
Okay.
We originally were going to podcast a couple of months ago.
Yes.
And you experienced a power outage.
Yes, our whole power went out. It's terrible.
And you were like, and of course, I'm on the East Coast,
yeah.
So I was a little behind time. You're like, oh, it's going to be 3 hours. I'm like, no, I don't really want to podcast at midnight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it was so cool. You hit me up a couple weeks ago, said, Andy, I'm going to have this opportunity to do this from the VIP stage. You have to come do this. And I said, we're going to do this live at the National. And I'm so glad we did it. I'm glad this really worked out this way.
It worked out better. This is even better than what we initially had.
Well, it's because we're all happy and have all this joy and excitement because we're at the National. You know, because before I would have just worked all day and I would have been excited. But I'm glad we got to do this because it's been even more fun to get to do it here with a room full of people that love cards. And there's a lot of COMC users in this room because I've seen them and know they're in here.
I know.
So it's great.
All right. Well, I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
It has been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
We will continue to be avid COMC users and
you have my direct contact if you have questions.
I will. I'll be
problems.
like, hey, listen, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm dumb. Help me.
Yeah, help me.
Help me.
You know what's great about the hobby is too, because we meet so many people like that. And so many people know us personally. And they have our numbers. They have our emails. And when they do have those hiccups or an issue, they reach out and we get it fixed for them. We get it resolved right then and right there for our users.
Amazing.
We love you. You're friends.
Yeah.
Why don't we want to take care of our friends?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Jeremy. Wish you could have been here, brother.
Hey, just so you know, those crazy texts aren't Courtney. That's the Boone's Farm talking.
Okay.
Yeah,
you're free.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciated it. I hope you learned something. I definitely did.